11 a.m. And to call the regular meeting of the Horry County Solid Waste Authority this March 31st to order. Invocation this morning will be by Ms. Creech, the Pledge of Allegiance by Wayne. All right?
Okay, if you'll bow your head. Gracious Heavenly Father, we come before you today humbly and ask for you to be with us. Bless this gathering and everyone present as we come before you today to discuss important matters, and we would like to ask for your guidance and wisdom always. Amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Can I say something before we get started?
Yes, sir.
I apologize for wearing a hat. I got in a tussle with a trash can Thursday and, it won. But I found out too, it's not the fall that hurts, it's the sudden stop. So keep that in mind, brother.
Entertain a motion to approve the agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Question, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, so ordered. The approval of the minutes of unless there's an objection, we'll take all three of them. All right. February 25th, regular meeting, the February 27th budget workshop, the March 18th budget workshop minutes.
Second.
Okay, I have a question. There is on page 22, all right, I noticed that there's a Scrivener error, I believe, on the last paragraph, referring to what was recommended, and the 100-acre site is being recommended as a Class 3 facility, not a Class 2 facility. I'm talking about this.
Go for correction for the food.
But we can treat that probably as just a Scrivener error, there's just extra line missed there. Class 3. Any question? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, so ordered. I did not have any requests for public input, so we'll move to the department reports.
Good morning.
Morning.
My report begins on page 30. I want to begin with just an update on our 2025 Pop Art recipient this year. 7th grader Beth Avant, is a student at Blackwater Middle School. She was selected as our grand prize winner this year. Her artwork design was entitled "There's Mushroom to Grow, Keep Trash on the Low." And as you came into the building today, you should have saw it in the lobby, which it'll be there for at least the month of April. Beth wasn't here with us last week, so we did get to recognize her publicly at our meeting, our almost meeting last week. So, and as it turns out, her sister was a previous pop art winner. So, our material this year was plaster that they utilized. So when you leave the building today, get up close and personal look at it. She did a great job on it. Next, statement of economic interest yesterday at 12 noon was the deadline before you'll be penalized. So hopefully everybody got their statement updated, with last year's numbers. Card hand recipient for the month of February, Lynn and Ralph Atkinson. They were caught recycling at the Ketchuptown Recycling Center, regular recyclers, and they were both very excited about being recognized for their recycling efforts. So, unless you have any questions, that's all I have. Thank
Any
you.
questions? No? Thank you, Esther. Finance and Administration, Ms. Biddy.
Good morning.
Morning.
Financial reports, I'll begin on page 37. We are now through the end of February, so we're getting through towards the end of our fiscal year. As you can see down on the middle of the page, our tipping fees, we're seeing an increase over last year of 8.84%. This time last year, we were only at like a 2% over the previous year. So as you can see, we have seen a significant increase this year, which is great. As you can see, our tipping fees, our solid waste is at 68.3%, mixed construction 65.3%, and yard waste at 66.8%. All of those are right on budget. Like I said, we should be at around 66.6%, and so everything's falling right on budget, which is great. Our recyclable sales, as you can see, are 82.38% of budget. Last year, the same time, was about 86%. So again, they're kind of staying right in line with where we were last year. Our landfill airspace savings, C&D processing facility has saved a little over 24 days of landfill airspace, which is an increase from last year at the same time, which is at 21 days. And the MRF with the collection and hauling has saved a little over 63, which is just slightly below. Last year was around 68 days. So just kind of wanted to give you an update as where we were this year as compared to last year. I'll jump over to page 39. Which is our income statement. As you can see, our revenue for the month, we had a little over $2,888,588, and expenses for the month of $2,569,714. So as you can see, we do have revenue over expenses for the month of $318,873.85. As you can see, overall for the year, we have revenue over expenses of $3,535,498.78. As you can see, our revenue is at 65.32% of budget. Again, almost right on budget. And as you can see, our expenses are staying well below at 56.42% of budget. One of the things I just wanted to point out to you that I think I had mentioned at one of our budget meetings is the personnel costs. As you can see, they're currently at 57.23% of budget, which is also well below, which they normally do stay for the year. Last page I was going to kind of take a look at for you is just on our tonnage comparisons on page 46. As you can see, solid waste has seen an increase over last year of 1.46%. Yard waste is just slightly below at 1.34%, and our mixed construction at 0.41% increase. I think we'll start to see the yard waste go up. If it's any indications how busy we've been the past couple of weekends, I don't know this past Saturday, but the Saturday before, seen probably one of our largest Saturdays that we've seen in quite some time. So this nice weather, people are definitely getting out, definitely cleaning up their yards. So I think we'll start seeing some significant increases. I'm sure we've seen a significant increase in the amount of compost and mulch that we have sold tremendously. So I'll answer any questions you might have.
Questions?
All right, thank you.
Excellent report, thank you. Next, operations and planning, Ms. Todd.
Good morning, my report begins on page 53. Landfill inspection was conducted on Tuesday, March the 4th, and all areas received a satisfactory rating. Over on page 56, on March 2025 driver of the month is Sean Groves, and he drives for Bridera Landscaping. So we want to congratulate him for being recognized as the driver of the month. We did have our 6th HHW Pack and Ship on February the 26th, where we disposed of 10.1 tons of paint and roughly 4 tons of batteries. The total amount of material picked up was just under 17 tons, which brings our annual tonnage of materials collected to 83.87 tons and a total cost of $61,217.66. And last week on Tuesday, we did recognize the folks that responded to the fire that we had on C&D Hill here on Sunday, March the 23rd. At approximately 3:15, staff received notification that there was a fire burning here at the landfill, and they responded. There were 2 Orion County Fire Rescue units on site that were available in case we needed them for equipment or anything like that. 2 later left because they knew we had it under control. Staff proceeded to haul soil and smother out the fire because that's the most appropriate way to do it. We did use the water truck a little bit on the edges to push wet material onto some of the material that was burning. So about 10 o'clock that night, the fire was put out. It burned an area of about 2 acres. And we do suspect most likely it was caused from a lithium battery because historically when we have a fire on our C&D working base, that's where it's caused from. We did have staff respond, what we call our staff response team, and that consists of Chris Calhoun, Chris Owens, Josh Nesbitt, Mike Small, Eric Dutchin, Timothy Grissett, Lamont Grissett, Davis Hall, and Devon Dog, but they all did a very good job. They were quick to get on site and they knew exactly what needed to be done. It was like a well-oiled machine. They just took it from there and did what they had to do to get it out. Any questions so far?
Not any questions. They did a great job, and we certainly do appreciate it. We were talking before the meeting about 60 Minutes and what they had on lithium batteries and showed what it was. And a lot of that is concerning to me because they said that when they're on fire, they release a toxic substance, and there's 3 different ones as well as an asphyxiant that when those fires from them happen. So I know that they're in machinery with closed-in cabs, but the explosions and different things those can do and the smoke that gets into there, I would like for them to have some kind of mask or something. If they don't want to wear it in the cab, you need to look at that and research it, because I had no idea that lithium batteries were this toxic and the smoke from it was this toxic until I saw 60 Minutes the other night, and how many of the toxins it did and the variation of that. And smoke can go into the cab of your vehicle that you're driving. But I think they need to have some protection to keep from breathing this smoke in case something might explode, hit the glass in there, knock it out or whatever. But I think we need to know the equipment that will keep our people safe when they're doing that. And if we need to buy some of that and to work with them so it's comfortable to wear and they're happy with that. But I really think we need to give that some thought.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
I made a note here, so we will certainly look into that.
Thank you.
Over on page 60, our C&D recycling facility, when comparing February of 25 to February of 24, there was a 153.25% increase. But if you remember back, we were down then, we were finishing up modifications, and then when we restarted everything, we really made a push with the scale house to put as much material over to that facility as possible to try to increase our recycling rate. You know, we improved the facility, so, and we're continuing to do that. We keep reminding them, and they're working very well with us and sending as much stuff over there as they possibly can. On 61, the MRF tonnage, when comparing February of 25 to 24, there was a 7.44% decrease in the amount of recyclables received. And from what we're hearing, there are a few of the municipalities that lately have not brought as much material as they have in the past. We don't know if it's just a thing that's temporary and they'll start picking back up and getting more in line with where the numbers usually are. So we're kind of waiting to see how that works out.
Do you know which municipalities that is? Does it ring in left?
City of Myrtle Beach and there were two of them specific. I think City of Myrtle Beach, I know was one of them.
Okay, if that continues that way, we might need to encourage them in some manner to start back up again. Thank you.
On page 63, the monthly fiber market comparisons show the prices decreased for cardboard and mixed paper for February of 2025. Mixed paper and OCC prices are holding steady, but they are expected to stay steady for the next several months as of now. Prices for plastics and aluminum have increased, but aluminum is expected to go down over the next few months. Steel prices have slightly increased, and the last load of HDP natural that we sold was for $2,052 a ton, and UBC sold for $2,260 a ton. So we're doing well there. Any questions?
I did notice that on the MRF, our rejects seem to be up. Okay, I don't know if there's a specific reason why that's happening, but I'm sure you're on top of it, but patient that 14% or something like that. Probably need to review that, if there's anything that we need to do. I don't know if it has to do with our storage facilities or whatever, just to, as best we can. I mean, we're very proud of the low amount of rejects that y'all get out there.
Yes, sir.
And my notation on here is the amount of recycling that's coming in, I don't think is keeping pace with our growth. And I think that's something that we're gonna have to seriously look at and address. We had a meeting a little bit earlier and then we report on it, but I think that we have to look at perhaps the way that we're promoting it and the way that we're marketing it, and try to see if we can do something about that, short of forcing people to do it. I don't know exactly what we have to do. But it's just my comment, that's all.
Any other questions?
Any other comments, Stephanie?
Is the waste wetter? Is that why we're having more rejects? Or more that we're putting in the?
I don't think it's wetter.
Well, there was, when we had that 14 inches of rain here a few months ago, or whatever that happened, there was a lot of material that came in that we had to reject because it wasn't marketable. So if that's the total number you're looking at, part of that impact may be coming from that period of time when it, because everything that came in basically had to go out as garbage because it was so wet when it hit the floor. So that might be leading to the increase on that, but we'll look into it further just to be sure.
Okay. Wet makes a big difference.
Now, it hasn't been wet for a while. It's pretty dry out there right now, but we'll look and see if that had an impact on it.
Thank you.
Very much. Next up is Mr. Knight.
Thanks, sir. Talking about fire in 78. Pictures of when South Carolina Forestry set up here. Not only was they're using the property here, they're probably using 100 acres also as a staging area. They actually were pulling water with the helicopters out of one of their lakes. So, it was just a short pull from there. And, they were, thank goodness they were here. They worked well with us, and they they've also gave us this, certificate of appreciation, which I appreciate them doing. And when they moved out, Florida State, they moved in. Of course, our state took all their equipment, I guess, the state of Rock Park. But Florida hadn't right much equipment back on the 100 acres also. Page 80, I put this in for information that, you know, sometimes when the lobbyist said it's gonna take 6 months, 9 months to do this alternative analysis. You look through this thing and read it. He'd have said it took 2 years, it wouldn't have shocked me with whatever's going on. Of course, we're gonna be working with them, Ed's gonna be working, furnishing information that we need. And, this is the backbone of future landfill space in every county. This will, make or break it. We're confident that, Wayne and Baloo are gonna do a good job. And then once they get their part done, then, Greg and Vance Moore will step in and be able to, they'll do their design, bid process and everything. So, Wayne Beam will hand it off, and, Moore's group will take it up and move forward.
Is still moving the way that you're comfortable with, it's still going, the processes that he's going.
Yeah, I feel confident on our group. It's just a lot of stuff to pull together and present, and you're not presenting sometimes to a group of friends. You're presenting to the Corps of Engineers, and Lord, they've got guidelines they must follow, because a lot of people will be watching this process, and we're going to make sure that we cross every T and dot every I to where there won't be some type of legal hang-up or something like that. So we'll keep that going, and at some time we'll have some more stuff in old business.
I noticed it was their framework is 2020. They haven't updated it in the last 5 years, and they're not planning on doing that we'd get through something and something would be added to this.
Well, the way it's looking in Washington, there may be some stuff deleted,
Deleted from that.
but I don't think we'll lose any time
Okay.
on it. I noticed that too, and that's the one that, Baloo sent us, so that's the one they're working on.
Okay, any questions from Mr. Knight? Okay, if not, we'll go into committee reports. Immediately before this meeting at 10 o'clock this morning, the executive committee did meet, and the consensus was to ask the recycle committee to develop a final resolution to be presented at our April board meeting regarding urging recycling efforts in South Carolina. Hopefully it will come to us at the next board meeting if the gods are with us. Future waste management options.
This next issue, when we did this in the budget workshop, we felt like it was kind of borderline whether we could do it there or we'd have to, but we felt forthright. If we advertise it for a certain meeting and vote on it, it would be on the record that, we presented it in a advertised meeting. And it also straightens out some arithmetic, I believe,
There's a Scrivener's error.
yeah. I believe it's lithium batteries run down at the end of the
We need a motion.
Yes, sir.
We need a motion to approve staff's recommendation to proceed with option 3 as presented at the February 27, 2025 board workshop, which included the development of the green space site, the oak tree site, as class 2 facilities, and the 100-acre site as a class 3 facility. Okay, motion.
So moved. Second.
Everybody understand the motion? Are there any questions? Not? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So ordered.
The next update, I won't hold off till next meeting. We have pretty much finished the process. DHEC has to review if we built to the plan, so that's gonna be something that Greg will have to deal with then on. I said, well, Greg, how long will it take him to look at that? 30 to 45 days. Everything's good, we've signed off on the documents, we've saved a ton of money, finished, in the schedule. So I think, when we're able to make this report, that everybody will be, we're happy with the job, everything looks good. Craig signed off on it already, and T&K has. I just wanna make sure that we don't have a problem with that, and I don't believe we will, but we'll make the final report. Additions and where we ended up, but it's been a good process.
You've finished in schedule and within budget.
Way under budget.
Over or way under?
Under,
Under
Under.
budget.
yeah,
Excellent.
1,000,
Excellent. Item is sale surplus. Sale of property request.
yeah.
We've had a request for, and we've had this made before, and it's the same real estate agent. Apparently his client is interested or has fixed whatever his issue was in the past. And so he's in a position now, he would like to move forward with purchasing the property. There are 3 parcels off of Highway 501 in the city of Myrtle Beach. It's the 511 Rhonda Loop. Those parcels are over there, and I believe that's a former recycling facility location.
Yeah, it was a former MRF, that we, had to move in until we, Esther got the new one done. This location, leaving here going to Myrtle Beach, we cross the waterway bridge. Property's over on the left on this street. There's 3 parcels, and always trying to buy an additional parcel for the trucks to make a turn into the old bottling plant, what it was, and we took it down, thinking that it was gonna be, help the sale of the property with an old building on it, so. But, go ahead, Jeff.
So we'd like to, I guess we'd have to begin the process to continue with the sale if that's what the board was interested in doing. We have to get the property appraised, I'm assuming, and then we have to put it out for bid and go through the same process that we went through the last time.
We'll advertise it, we'll get a appraisal done on it. And it's a process, you will vote on it. Have to go to county council for approval. I told a lot of people, I ain't standing up in front of county council recommending selling something below appraised value.
How big is the parcel?
I think it's roughly 4 acres. I have to go with all 3 parcels added together.
Mr. Knight, right there, we have in Schaefer property where they had the beer company out years ago.
Yeah, that's right. BMC's got property behind it, people were looking at it at one time, and I thought we were gonna have to give it to the dog pound, and, it's been, and we advertised it before, put a sign up, and, that it will pay the appraised value, and I can thank you for you later.
Yeah, no, they're gonna have to pay the appraised value.
Yeah, it's approximately 4 acres, 5 acres, somewhere in that.
And all 3 parcels are almost 5 acres.
2.3, 3, 4. It's right at 4 acres, 4.2 acres, if I remember correctly, for all 3 if you added them together.
And it would be appraised at commercial property, I'm sure. Okay.
Is it a commercial zone? I'm sorry, not familiar with where it is. I couldn't find it on the map.
Yeah, I believe it's not commercial zone, it's that, what is that designation, farm? Not
I
farm.
don't know what it is, but it'll be appraised on, that, we won't
It
get
doesn't
it,
have the zoning.
we won't get it, reappraised,
HC?
It's what?
What is it? Highway commercial. Highway commercial.
Highway, right, okay, highway commercial.
there's a garage society, another business is further down that street, there's a adult entertainment.
Okay, well, that'll make the price go up.
That's closed, isn't it?
I believe it is, but I don't
I
know.
don't go by them that much.
No, I used to go there quite often.
Personally, from my perspective, I'm not keen on selling land. If we own it, we have such a hard time, I mean, we've talked before about how hard it is for us to find parcels for things that we need to be done. And if we already own this, if it's 5 acres of land, I mean, if the board
That's
wants
in
to go ahead with it.
that's in the city, right? Is it city limits? It's not in the city
No, it's
limits?
not in the city limits.
Donut, I believe it's one of those donut holes.
There's no way we could put storm debris on it, is there?
4 acres?
You could?
4 acres? I don't know if you could or not.
It's
I think it's a
awful
good
tight
bit of
over
land to do storm debris.
5 acres.
Is your hauling
down
18
there.
wheeler
Would be big
loads in
enough
there?
to-
That makes no problem.
Make that, and we are not gonna, you need it as a recycling center?
Now, we're talking with the county about one further back towards Conway at Ron McNair,
Okay,
back in there. That was talked 3 or 4 years ago, and we've still got property
okay,
in that location.
okay. So there isn't anything we can do with it, is that what you're saying, really?
Really too small for much of anything that we would be able to.
Okay.
I think, anyway, and not much you
I don't believe you can do a lot already with them surrounding businesses there.
Yeah.
I think you're gonna catch a lot of heat from that.
Yea and nay.
Make a motion that we move ahead. Well, the process, anyway.
I
The
second
appraisal.
that.
Yeah, get appraisal, let's see what it's worth.
Second.
Motion, everybody understand the motion? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
I'll go along with it until we see what price.
That's me.
Right. Yeah, the price is gonna have to be the full appraisal value. I wouldn't be willing to sell anything for less than this.
All right. Under new business, out of county recyclable request.
A few months ago, Ray Funny from Georgetown County had called me and asked me if we'd have any interest in helping him out with his recycling program. Much like us, he's had a difficult time hiring and retaining employees to run his MRF. He has a small recycling operation down there, and he's having a difficult time getting materials processed. He has a very clean stream of materials, luckily, because all of the facilities he collects his material from are from manned facilities. So the material itself is very clean. So a couple months ago now, I guess it's been, Chris and I and Josh, we took a ride down to Georgetown County just to take a look at the materials, see their operations, and verify the quality of the materials that they're talking about. And on inspection, it is exactly as advertised, a very clean stream. It's all, you can tell it's coming from manned facilities. There's very little debris in the material at all. We showed the pictures to Rodney as well, just to get his feeling on it. He said it looks no different than any other material that we accept at the facility currently. So what he has asked for us to do is to process his material at our facility. Now, I know in the past we've had an experience with another location who had been delivering materials here, and it was not what this proposal is. But having said that, in order to verify the things that we believe are going to go on with this, what we have proposed to him was, and of course this would, if the board approved of it, would be to take in a few of his loads, run them through our facility, and just get a feel for how much bypass there really is in that material, and just to verify after processing the material to be sure it is what it says it is. And then if it was clean and if it met all of our conditions, then come back to the board and say it passes muster, would we be interested in accepting those materials here to this facility? Now, understanding what the issues were in the past, I just wanted to run a few numbers by you, which would give you an idea for the size and volume of what this is. This is only 20 tons per week, not daily, not every other day. This is only 20 tons per week. And if the bypass goes the way we think it's going to go, that means there's going to be 1 ton of bypass generated per week. This is not going to be the 2 shifts, the 50 people, the sleepless hours, Danny holding a flashlight while Richie and his crews were fixing belts at 2 o'clock in the morning kind of thing. This is going to be able to run with our normal process. And it won't cause any additional time or effort for us to be able to process this material. If the numbers hold true and if the tonnages remain the same, that 1 ton of bypass every week we would charge back to them at our current tipping fee, whatever that may be, at $43 a ton, which is what it is today. It'd be roughly $2,000 a year is what they would pay, $2,200 a year under this proposal. You can change this proposal, but if we disposed of it at our current tipping fee, it'd be $2,200 a year approximately. But based on the last 5 years of generating $30 a ton on average for the materials, we should see about $30,000 in additional revenue for the MRF to help in its operational capacity. So what we're talking about here is being able to bring in Georgetown recyclables on truckload quantities, totaling about 20 tons a week if we were to go full bore with this. And there'll be about 1 ton of material that we would dispose of, and that would be paid for by Georgetown County. Now, again, we'd like to be able to bring material in first just to verify these numbers, if that's okay with the board. But again, I bring this to you because it's been a request made to me by Georgetown County's solid waste administrator.
Are you saying that we would keep the ton of reject that we could not and put it in our landfill? We had a lot of problem and heartburn with that when we dealt with Charleston and made them actually take all of theirs back.
Right.
So I have a problem with that. The other thing is, with us looking at hopefully making mandatory recycling here, and we're going to have to come up with a little bit of money and more shifts and so forth, I'm not sure it would be a good thing to start that until we work with county council on the recycling and mandatory and what kind of process we would have here. Because there was a lot of heartburn with Charleston, and they were only here a couple of years, and that, it looks to me like this would be an ongoing forever thing.
Well, this is, again, it's completely up for you to decide on. This is a little different than Charleston, especially in terms of volume. And the materials that we were getting from Charleston were from unmanned recycling facilities, so the
Right.
hardship that we experienced was significant
Yeah.
from words that I have heard. This would fall, and again, this is just in discussion with Rodney and with looking at the materials that are coming in here and understanding that, you know, helping to generate some additional revenue for the MRF. That's why we are entertaining the idea, and we brought the idea to you.
Yeah.
1 ton a week, I think I believe is a relatively insignificant impact, but if we needed to send it back, we would have to think about a way to be able to manage or hold on to, or I guess I hadn't thought about a way that we can hold waste until there's a truckload quantity to be able to send back to Georgetown. But again, if that's something we would have to do, we'd have to look and see if it'd be worthwhile to do that then.
I tend to agree with what Ms. Creech is saying. See if there's a practical way of sending the rejects back,
Okay.
all right? Again, for exactly what you're just saying, all right? I don't want to take up any more airspace than we have to on our landfill. And a ton is not a lot, and I mean, if it's practicable, or whatever, I would ask you to seriously investigate that. I like the idea of generating revenue. We have capacity out there. It's my understanding there's capacity to do it. And I like the idea of cooperating with an adjacent county. Okay? I don't want to take away from our landfill either, so if it's practical.
This first deal out there now will be a test case. Set it up, we see, I don't care what we do, we ain't gonna lose no money on the process. But then again, if we push the mandated recycling, and Myrtle Beach double their recycle this week, be in the same situation big time. We do. I would love to try just a pilot program. They very well may not like it, but, we learned a lot on the Charleston thing and kept honing that thing down to where, as the chairman of the board down there called it solid waste egregious.
Yeah, we were mean.
Yeah, but, it's just a one-time trial and error and see what it is. We might even load the reject back up on a truck, and take it back to their landfill.
So it is actually Georgetown landfills recyclables. This isn't from a private individual.
No, it's Georgetown County. They have a small processing facility. They try to have at least a dozen people in there. The day that we were there, was there 4 or 5? 4 or 5 people, and they're having a heck of a time getting people to stay and to do the sorting up on the picking line, because theirs is all manual. They don't have any optical sorters or air classifiers or any such thing as that. It's basically a picking line similar to what's in the SW6 building. And they have people, gentlemen, that stand along the sides of the rail, and they're picking out different commodities as they come across the belt. They're dropped down into these hopper carts, and then the hopper carts are then brought over to the baler, and they run the different materials as they go through. Very labor-intensive kind of process, and the volume of material that they have is a lot for the few people that they can get to work in there. So he doesn't want the program to go away, but he's having an awful hard time maintaining his MRF operations. And really in Georgetown, there's you can't ship air all the way over to Columbia from him. It's just, it'd be difficult. So bringing it up here would be enough of a hardship, but at least they have a truck and a dump trailer. And like I said, based on last year's number, they did about 20 tons a week of this curbside type of material. And they have manned facilities where it's coming from. It's not the car engines and the telephone poles and other things that came from the Charleston material, because it's manned facilities.
We allow our cities we allow people here to bring recyclables free.
Correct.
Are we gonna charge them?
Yeah.
We're charging them, yeah. Mhm.
Okay, so it's not just what we would make from selling it.
Correct.
We are charging, and what are we charging them per ton?
We would charge them whatever the tipping fee is. Currently, it's 43. It would bump up to 47 after July 1. And so we would charge them for everything that goes in the landfill if we were to leave it here. If we can't find a way, if we could separate it and send it back on their truck, I think that would be fine. I just don't know we'll have to think about that, how we make that happen, because it's a closed system. We just have to think about how that would work, but,
We'll get a tipping fee coming in,
And selling and going out.
and we'll charge them the rejects,
mhm.
the dump, so we're getting it up front on the tail end and keeping the material.
Okay, and we don't have to hire any more people, we can
No.
process that with who we have here.
Yep. I mean, we can try it for a period of time just to see how it works, like Danny said, we can run a 6-month
I
pilot. We
think
could
that's a
do-
good idea, like Davey said, to try just a pilot program and, not officially approved, but do a pilot program and see how it works out in the end.
Don't work, we quit with it, right?
If it don't work, we stop.
How long would you think a pilot program should be?
We can, however long you want it to be, 3 months, 6 months, I mean, a year.
Three, 4 months, I would think. We'll have a good understanding, and they will have a good understanding
Sure.
also.
I make a
Because
motion that we-
Charleston, the first few loads we got were okay, and it continuously got worse, so 3 months should give us a good idea of what
Mhm.
they think they're gonna do.
Yeah,
And the county does a reject, and seeing how much, and, then we'll be able to decide if we want to keep the reject or the tipping fee, or they can take them back, Sandland or Georgetown County or wherever.
Mhm.
If they take it back, we have to give them the tipping fee back.
No.
Good.
I'll make a motion that we try this pilot program for 3 to 4 months with Georgetown County.
Second,
He's second.
maybe second.
Oh, yeah, he's over
All right,
ready.
everybody understand the motion? Read the
We found,
pilot program?
We tried.
we fought the battle up front with somebody saying we're not supposed to take any garbage from outside the county. I went in front of county council and explained to them, this wasn't really garbage, it was a commodity. So we went through that process with the county, so I don't see any problems. And we've had calls from Dillon and some of the other counties if we consider taking theirs. And it very well may be that, help other people and help ourselves.
Question, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Order, unanimous. Okay, on the roundtable discussion.
The only thing I have, since we've talked about the lithium batteries and the problems with it, I have someone, here, the Smith detection system that detects lithium batteries. They've got a scan, and I wrote down the exact scan of the X-ray system and 2 other places that can be checked. And I'll give this to Ed after the meeting and check on that. Because if we have something that's reasonably priced, that we can check things as they're going in to see if there's a lithium battery in it, I think it would be cheaper and worth our time to pull it out than to have fire.
Well, we may not even turn it around out.
Yeah,
We might just turn the load
Might
back
make a
around
leak.
and they can take it back where they brought it
right.
from.
So I've got that information for Ed at the end of the meeting.
I just want to make note that I was at the CRA conference last week up in Wilmington. I was fortunate to be able to go there. I claimed there was 400 people there with over 50 exhibitors. I attended a couple general sessions and whatever. I did visit the DES booth, and I gotta tell you again, how complimentary they are to your operation. I mean, walk up there and I said, we love you guys. So when you get the regulatory agency telling you that, that's pretty good.
But they don't love us good enough to not let us know when something's wrong. The love affair kind of ends for a brief amount of time, so,
Love-hate relationship.
Talked to several of the vendors, particularly got some information on cart costs, if we go into mandatory recycling, and if we have to do that. That might entail and what it might not entail. But overall, it was an interesting, I was only there for one day, I was only able to.
What did you buy?
Alright, so, I'll tell you, Wilmington has changed a lot. Wilmington's changed as much as Horry County has changed. God bless them.
You didn't find a piece of equipment we couldn't live without?
I talked to some people, but I didn't buy it. All right. Is there anything else to come before us for the good of our order?
I would love to say we got a vendor here, want Ed to get with him and get the information and of his company and what he does.
Yeah, on the compost we stopped by with the composting, and there was some good information. Also good to know that y'all are generally ahead of me of where I'm at. We just walk up to these, and I say, oh yeah, well, I just talked to Ed, or whatever. So, okay, but anyway. it's interesting. If nothing else, thank you all for coming. Mr. Spivey, thank you for being here again. All right, that we entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
We are adjourned.